fellow Americans. How's everybody's doing? What's cooking? What's good? How you doing? How's everybody's summer? Mine was bad.
James Austin Johnson's Biden unsuccessfully attempts to unite the Democratic Party on the infrastructure bill. Steve, how'd you feel about this cold open?
Expectations subverted. They were over here, and this is what happened somewhere over here. Made me think about, Jay Farrow and the process they went through to bring him on as Obama. They hired him and had him on for a couple of years before they made that switch. And it was a big thing with the baton passing from Fred Armisen. It seemed like they really needed him to prove himself before they gave that role to him. And now, cut to present day, we have a brand new guy, very first episode, making headlines by taking on the role of the president on his very first episode, the very first seconds of the show. I've never seen so much trust put in someone so new. And I guess that goes to show, how well he must be doing and how much promise he showed when he became on their radar. But that's the main takeaway for me,
Yeah, I mean, of course, James is the story here, but like you said, Steve, like I think it is important and great to note that this didn't have a lot of the problems that we've historically complained about in the cold open. And, it was clear, it was straightforward, it wasn't a circle of people coming in and out. It knew what it was and it stuck to that, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
But yeah, James Austin Johnson's the story here. I know you just talked about it. I know John's probably going to talk about it, but that's what this was about. For people who follow the show, we've said this a lot. It's like following a sports team, right? So like season 47, the first shot being a featured player is like seeing, and I did watch college football right before SNL, so that's why I'm here. But it's like seeing the freshman QB that you've sort of heard about and you're excited to see come out in the first game and then like dodge two defenders and throw a touchdown in the very first play. And you're like, oh, like this is exhilarating. This is why people watch sports, right? Like That's what this feels like to people like us. Like we're just so excited. And I think this was just great foreshadowing for the amazing night that James Austin Johnson was going to go on to have. So yeah, I was feeling really, really good about this cold open. John, where are you on it?
So I think it was a safe and competent cold open as far as their political fare goes. You guys are right. A lot of the stuff that they usually suffer from, meandering storylines, too many players, celebrity cameos, none of that's there. So it's more satisfying than some. But it's pretty like tepid political commentary, but still, well presented, and the jokes were clear and moderately funny as far as I was concerned. So I had no problem with it. But this is obviously, like you said, Catherine, completely buoyed by the amusement of not only seeing a really competent Biden, the best Biden they've had on the show ever. He's going to wear the mantle. This is a Hammond-Level-Event that we just saw. So for that, you can't help but be extra engaged and enthused by it. The fact that it's James' first time out there. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, how great has the last month of his life been where he knows that this moment is going to happen? He knows the day, he knows the time, he knows he's got the gig, he knows he has to tighten up that impression. He knows he's got to head into the city in 3 weeks or whatever. And he knows I can't tell anyone. So this is what he's been living, the most, fun and anxiety inducing feeling for a whole month. So that's where my mind goes. I'm there thinking, nobody in New York is having a better night than that guy right there. And he totally nailed it. And the few times where maybe he flubbed a line just made it more Biden-esque. So like, this is the impression that you can't lose with. Like he could totally stumble through an entire sketch and never hit a mark or a cue. And you'd still think that it was the most spot on Biden you ever saw. So I think he slipped right in the role. I think it was a huge win for him. And overall, it was pretty standard fare for a political cold open.
And hey, Broadway's back. That's exciting, right? Yeah. So is the Taliban. So win some, lose some.
Moment of the night is up first. John, what is it?
It's got to be our boy James debuting his Biden. Like that doesn't happen every season or even every decade. Like this, I feel like it's such a dialed in impression. And he finds the funny in Biden's cadence and his exasperation and just his tiredness and his old manniness. There was just so much working in it. And for him to come out and just execute the very first second of his screen time on SNL, that's impressive. And you just don't see episodes, or you don't see moments like that on every episode. So I don't know what else could even be in the running.
All right, well, MVP, John, I'm pretty sure I know where you're going with it. Who is it?
I think James. So we must be in agreement on this. Like, when was the last time we had a featured player that debuted as strongly as that? It doesn't happen every year. It's great to see it, and it's just really exciting to see him catch his stride and just be given that much trust out of the gate. So, yeah, I'll give it to James.
Yeah. To me, there's only two people this could go to, Ego or James.
Okay.
And you got to give it to James. I mean,
Ego would give it to James. Yeah. Like
Ego even would give it to James. That's right. Just so amazing to see him in the first second of the show come out. And I mean, I'm sure my eyes just widened. Like, what's happening? It was just great. And then he was great as Larry the Cable Guy. It was great as that sportscaster. He just, when they announced him, I looked at his stuff. I was like, yeah, he seems good. No crazy thoughts, no clear, ideas for anything from me. But after this episode, I'm like, this guy has wanted to be on SNL his whole life, and he came ready to fucking play. Like,
I bet his audition was stellar.
Yeah, he is here for it. He walked into that meeting Monday. He was ready to go. He knew what he was going to do, and he's here. He's made it. His dream came true, and he's not going to mess it up. And he knocked it out of the park. Stellar thing. I'm so happy for him. I've never met the guy, but just wow. Like you said, John, like the last 3 months of his life must just be unbelievable, unforgettable. Yeah. What a time. James Austin Johnson. Good job. Steve, are you going to make it unanimous?
You know I am. Who would have thought the Money Mart employee from Better Call Saul had such comedic range and talent? And
right?
Wow. Yeah, this guy deserves to be where he is, and he has put in the work, and it is paying off. You can't fake that stuff. You got to put in the time. And just to fight against all the nerves that one must have on their first episode, having more expected of them than anybody on their first episode, I think, save maybe those like complete rebuilding years from like season 25. This is a lot of pressure to put on a brand new cast member, and for them to just brush off all that pressure and proceed to kill it, and not just once, but like 3 times in their first episode. This guy just walked in and said, "Oh, hey, congrats on all your Emmy nominations. Excuse me while I eclipse you in screen time in my very first episode. In fact, Kate, you can go home right now. Just get out." So yeah, he's making a splash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Solid choice. Couldn't be happier. If you want to see our full sketch by sketch review, Search for SNL Afterparty on Patreon or subscribestar.com.